Yeah, good morning to everyone. So I hope you all were able to hear me, right? Yes.
Yeah, good morning. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So now, yes, let us continue. So others would join. So let me share my desktop. Yes. So, so in the last session we talked about detailing of architecture. So where we understood one basic thing, second based on protocol, third based on what authentication plus authorization plus cloud to cloud. Yeah. So, which means what? In broader terms, we talked about this architecture in four ways. Other is what? Integration as a service. I is what? Integration as a service. So, because we use data integration as one of the service in order to perform what I call data integration activities. That's one of the what I call microservice, right? That we all know. Yeah. So after that, we started with getting into the tool. Yeah. So where we try to understand the environment. Yeah. So which is not done completely in the sense. So can we perform ETL operations within IICS or not? Yes or no? Yeah. So answer is what? Yes. To do that, so we need to understand like how to configure source, target, and see whether we could able to make use of agent, like whatever we discuss as part of architecture, right? Is that really going to help us in order to perform data integration operations? Answer is yes, but we have not confirmed it with an example. But theoretically, we discussed. Practically, we are going to do with what I call some examples on today's session, right? So that's a plan for today's discussion. Yeah. Now let me try to get into the tool. The tool has come up, right? Then we'll get into the examples directly. There's one more thing, guys, which I did not talk about it. So we can have n number of agents. Yeah. So depending upon the context or need, right? So we can take a decision like what to be pointing to. Yeah. So we can point to agent one or agent two, depending upon one freely available resources, or second, based on kind of activity that we perform, and third, based on business expectation. Based on that, we can take a call like our input should point to which type of agent. Yeah. So that's going to be the one of the key decision point while choosing what appropriate agent. So now let me try to log in here. Now, so we all know that we'll be using data integration service, right? Yes. Prior to that, so we need to install that agent. So I think we talked about it. So we need to get into administrator, download secure agent, make a copy of token. As part of installation, we need to supply the token as input along with email ID. That's it. So that need to be taken as input to make this particular IS to work. Yeah. So I think that part we discussed. So I think we got into integration. That's the big start. Yeah. So remember, guys, I think when it comes to data transfer for any agent, right? So we can use what cloud to cloud transfer, on-prem to on-prem transfer, cloud to on-prem, on-prem to cloud, cloud to whatever. So which means we can think how many factorial three combinations. Yeah. So or we can say six combinations if we convert that fact in reality, right? So which means but which agent will be used where and why? I think that we talked about it as part of architecture, right? Anyway, it is still as not ready. So meantime, I'll talk about some theoretical parts. Yeah. So remember, guys. So let's say there will be n number of tasks, and we can have n number of corresponding agents. So meaning there will be n to m correspondence between what input. I'll just put input. Input could be anything. It could be a task or task flow or simple mapping or simple utility or any activity that we could perform in IICS. Yeah. So input to what agent will be many to many relationship. Just remember that. Yeah. Yeah. So now today we will talk about the first thing, EL, meaning straight through mapping, where we are going to understand like how one can transfer data directly from source to a target. Yeah. So we can also call it as what? Straight through mapping or pass through mapping, where without any intermediate manipulation, right? So from this, we can understand whether the environment is working fine or not, right? Once it is working, then we can start introducing what ETL, yeah. So where we can get the data, apply any logic, then get it transferred to any target. Yeah. So T could be anything that we all know. We're all seniors in this area, right? So we'll try to perform so all the transformations. Remember, guys. So yeah, do we need to really use transformations at this point in time? Because things have been evolved like anything, right? At this or in the current trend, right? Do we need to use it? Answer is yes and no. But from my perspective, we don't need to think on this using what transformations in most of the cases, not all the cases, because there are some cases which we can't avoid. Yeah. So what? So now we can ask question on what basis I'm saying we don't need to use these transformations. Remember, guys. So we have got many templates which have been built by Informatica itself. Forget about outside Informatica. So outside Informatica, we can do much more things. Yeah? But these guys, they themselves have done or they have built many templates. We just need to know how to make use of it. Yeah? Which means fill that template and get the job done. That's what I meant. Yeah. So which means, so for example, let's say we need to perform join. Yeah. Join is one of the transformation, right? So if you want to configure, right? So we need to configure n number of sources and then join a transformation, selection of type of join, and then make sure that condition everything has been built, right? All that we have to take care. So, but by using a template without any developer involvement, right? Which means without any developer help, customer they themselves can start building join. So that kind of what it called templates are available within IICS itself. Remember that. Yeah. So which means customer they can log in, they can supply inputs, put a condition, get the job done. So they don't need to have developer knowledge at all. So that kind of thing they have taken care. Who are the Informatica people? So outside with AI, it's a different story. We can do much more. I'll not get into that. Yeah. So fine. Now, but as part of this training, right, we'll talk about all the available transformations. We would also try to say that some of the existing templates, and you yourself will understand like importance and essence of these existing templates that have been developed by Informatica. They look very simple, but they're very much powerful if you think from what end user perspective. Yeah. So now let's see. Yeah, it is ready to use, guys. So in my environment, I'm using two agents. You can see, right? One is stopped, one is ready to use. So theoretical, I was trying to talk, right? we can have n number of agents. No? So I'm just trying to talk, right? N number of agents. So, but we can bring up n number of agents at the same time. Agent means what? A long running process, right? And every process associated with a service in the context of IICS. And every service will have different port number, which means we can bring up n number of services at the same time so that there won't be any conflict of bringing them up because each of them would be listening against with what different port number. That's fine. So now let us try to understand like how to set up the environment. Yeah? So we started with that, but anyway, we'll try to do it from the scratch so that there won't be any confusion for all the newcomers. Yeah. So now let's say, yeah, when you try to say new mapping, right? So you'll get what a block which contains source and target, right? So yeah, let us try to configure the source and target and see whether we can transfer from one to another just to understand the environment. Yeah? So the first thing, so place the mouse pointer in the mapping workspace and supply the mapping name. There's a mapping source TZT, which is a target, which is for let's say starting point. Yeah? That's a location. Location is default is this, so we can specify some other location because we created this dev extract folder, right? So and then say select. That's it. Yeah. So now let us try to configure the source. So we talked about multiple combinations through which we can transfer data, right? On-prem to on-prem, on-prem to cloud, all that, right? Let's focus on one now. So the first thing, let's say source is a file,
Mastava, can you
and
show me from the beginning in here how you from which option you can click that mapping?
Raymond, yeah, to get the
Yeah,
mapping, Raymond, yeah.
yeah. From where?
Can you see it in the left
Yeah,
top, the new button, right? Click on
new.
that.
Yes,
So you can see one of the asset is what mapping.
mapping. Okay.
Once you click on that, say create. So you'll get what empty mapping workspace with the two blocks in it, source and target. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now we can start supplying the mapping name, then configure source and target. That's what we are trying to do. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Got it, Raymond? Yeah.
Got it.
So
Thank
let's
you.
go back to earlier one. Yeah. So now we separate the mapping name, which is mapping source target S1. Yeah. Now we just got into what specific transformation. See, though we have source and target, right? We call everything as a transformation here, including source and target. I think I talked about toolbar, sub toolbar, all that at last session. So now let us try to configure source. So remember, guys, if you want to talk to or get the data from any media, right? The media could be expressed based on what? A flat file or table or application or machine learning data or artificial intelligence data, or it could be even in transit data. It could be anything. But ultimately, we need to have some appropriate connector to get it connected to the relevant source. Let us say we are trying to talk about file. So we need to create a connection based on what? Flat file. So let us try doing it. Click on new connection and supply, let's say, source file connection. Yeah. So and then say description optional. I've just copied the same connection name. Can you see here? These are the different connection types we call like ODBC for databases, plot file for the source as a file, Salesforce if you want to pull the data from Salesforce application, and if you want to transfer some data in a secure SFTP, not secure, MS Access database, MySQL if you want to read the data from MySQL database, similarly Oracle, and SAP is an application. If the environment is ready, which is SAP, then we can talk to SAP with appropriate model to get the job done. SQL Server similar to Oracle and MySQL. So then Amazon S3, again one more cloud. If you want to get the data from Amazon, it's a cloud storage space, which is S3. S3 means simple storage space, right? Where we can have a number of buckets through which we can pull the data. Then we have got a data lake as well, which is Azure, another cloud platform, and Google Cloud Storage, which is extension to this. Then JDBC Informatica Cloud. So which means we can also connect to Informatica Cloud with the JDBC connectivity for older versions and JDBC version 2, which is the latest. Yeah. The rest V2 for REST-based applications. But let us start with what one of the source, which is like
Yeah, Narasimha, the connection names and description the client will provide, right, in the real-time scenario, the naming conventions.
no. Actually, yeah. Actually, we'll have for every project, right? There'll be coding
Mhm.
guidelines. Yes or
Right,
no? We define the coding guidelines. Uh, we follow. Customer, they don't care. So we just for understanding and maintaining uniformity across all the team members, right? So
right.
we follow what you call common coding guidelines so that anybody can understand our coding style. For that only we created. Customer, they
Okay,
don't
got
care, right? They just want the solution, right? Yeah,
it.
yeah, fine. Now let us select appropriate agent and specify the directory where we have got files in this environment. So we have got let's go to source. Yes. So in this environment, we got a number of files over here, like a SAQ1, which contains what? Simple flat file. So let's try to pull the data from this particular flat file where we got a number of rows, n equal to 6. Yeah, fine. So let us try doing it. See, because this we're trying to understand the environment, right? And date format we can change if you want it. This is the US format by default. Code page again, if you deal with any international character like Telugu or Tamil or Hindi or French or German or Italian, whatever, right? So appropriate code page need to be selected to take care of reading the data from all the characters. So click on test. Yes. Can you see here now connection is successful, right? Which means the input details are fine. But ultimately what we did here, only path only with for this connection type flat file. That's all. Rest they are very
And what is
straightforward.
sample data over there in the connection side?
Sample
As
data, right?
actual,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sample data actually we have got pre-built source systems. Example, data from Amazon S3. Let me show it. So
Okay,
Amazon example, right? Or Salesforce, or SQL Server. These are pre-built. I was trying to talk about Amazon S3. So
okay.
we already have sample data based on the connection. But prior to that, we have to have a Amazon setup that should have been done. Username, password, domain, region, all that, right? That should have been
Mm-hmm.
done. So in that case, we can make use of this sample data. Yeah, that's the one thing. And second, if we try to use cloud hosted agent, right? Like we talked about two types of agents, right? In the cloud space, we saw cloud hosted agent, which will help us in order to transfer data from one cloud environment to other cloud environment. In that case, also we can use sample data where we have got let's say Amazon S3, which knows like how to talk to other cloud, let's say S3 data, then we can get it transferred to some other cloud environment. In that case, also we can make use of sample data. Got right? But anyway,
Okay,
in our environment, we are trying to use what?
flat
On-prem
file.
data. On-prem means normally customers' data will be spread across multiple parts of the globe, right? Yes or no? So they may
Yes.
not be in the cloud. You know, they might be in on their own local systems. In that case, we specify their path, whatever, right, and file name to pull the data. That's why we are trying to focus on actual data with on-prem agent to take care of it. Clear, right?
Clear.
Say okay. Yeah. I hope it's clear to everyone, right? Mamta, Rahman, Balaji, sir, all right? Yes or no?
Yes, Narsimha, it's clear.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So now, so can you see here? This is a connection, right? And single source type. Remember, guys, one we can have a single object which would contain the actual data, like we have seen seq1.txt, right? That contains what? Actual data. That's an example of single object, or we can say data file. Now, file list, meaning what? Indirect. So there will be a top level file. Underneath, we can have n number of data files. Remember that. For example, let's say we need to pull the data from multiple states where the structure is same, but data differs from state to state. In that case, you will have states.txt or country.txt. Within that, you'll have, let us say, ap.txt, tn.txt, ms.txt, or some other state.txt file which contains what actual data. The structure is same, like name, address of each customer, each person, right? In such cases, we go with what? File list. Yeah. I'll talk about it, some examples. I'm trying to talk about some theoretical points. Command means we can write a shell script or a bash script or simple shell command using which we could able to take care of reading the data from source systems. In that case, we can use this. Yeah. And then parameter means, remember guys, in IICS, one of the major benefit with IICS is what? We can parameterize with 100%. I'll show one or two examples, like on what basis I'm trying to make this statement. But it's not possible with what? Power center, it's a local ETL application, right? That's not possible. But in IICS, it's possible. That's why most of the customers, they're trying to migrate from local power center to what? Cloud-based data integration. Right? Let us start with a single object. Yeah. So which means parameterize means we can parameter source, target, any transformation. We can say all. Now click on select. And search for SAQ because there are multiple files, right? See here SAQ1. I think we have seen the sample data, right? Say okay. Yes. So now let us try to preview the data and see whether we could able to see of what we have seen in the sample file, right? So see there are 6 rows. We have seen all of them in the source. Yes. So 3 plus 3, right? 6 rows. Yeah? That's okay. Now, did we supply one field delimiter, second row delimiter? We have not done it. But by default, either informatic or local environment or even cloud environment, right? It uses what? Comma as a delimiter. Let's see where do we have it. Click on formatting options. Can you see? Default is what? Comma delimiter. Yeah. And row delimiter default is what? New line. Test qualifier default is what? Double quote. Meaning, but in case if we have multiple words per field, right? In that case, it is always advisable to go with what? Either single quote or double quote. So double quote is more readable form over single quote. That is why they made it as what? Double quote as a default test qualifier. But it's your choice. If you don't want any quotes to be used per field, we can go with what? None. But we need to make sure that we don't get to see more than one word. Remember, because more than one word means every word or two words, that if we take two words, they have been separated with some separator, right? Example, comma. We are already using comma. Powerful, if we have a separator which matches with what we are using here, then that also will get splitted. So to avoid that, if we try to enclose, right, that will not be splitted because it is part of one field. That is why the best practice is what? Always better to go with what? Using one of the test qualifier, which is single quote or double quote. Double quote is preferable. Yeah. None, if you are sure about, let's say we expect either single digit or a single word. In such cases, we can choose test qualifier as what? None. Escape character, guys, in case if you have any special character or characters which need to be skipped out while transferring data to a target, right? We can specify them like apostrophe or any other special characters which we don't expect as part of the source data, right? Then we can just specify them. Yeah. And field labels, first line is a header, and from second line onwards, it's a data line. Remember, guys, in case if the source file looks like what, um, if the source file contains, let's say, a file that contains a description, like what this particular file does, logo, like what it signifies, and so on. For all of them, let's say first 9 or 10 lines have been resolved. Then we can start, let us say, from 11th line where there is a data line or data starts, right? In that case, we can specify from where we need to start to read the data. So in our sample data, from second line onwards, we got what? A data line. So that is why we are specifying what is called default is what 2 anyway. Our sample data is also matching with a default number. That's it. Yeah. Any questions on this formatting specifiers, guys?
No.
Okay, fine. Say okay. That's it. Okay. And set. Yeah. Now source part is done successfully, right? Now, can you see line with arrow indicates what? It's a virtual data set or a buffer or a memory or a simple link or a pipe. These are all synonyms, guys. Because if you want to make multiple transformations to talk to each other, we have to have some media to make them to talk to each other. So what is that media here? A line with arrow. Technically speaking, we use what? ITC, which is inter-thread communication. So which means source is a thread, target is a thread. To make them to these two guys to talk, we use what? Inter-thread communication. Remember, we all know that, right? In operating system, we got multiple IPC mechanisms, inter-process mechanisms, right? Like a pipes or FIFOs or shared memory, named pipes, and also TCP sockets, UDP. Yeah. So we have multiple IPC mechanisms. So all the IPC mechanisms, they are also applicable even in ITC mechanisms, which is inter-thread communication. Yeah. Because Informatica follows what? Multi-threading architecture, which means everything would be expressed based on what? Multiple threads. In this example, source thread and target thread, we can make these two guys to interact based on what? Inter-thread communication. But as part of inter-thread communication, they use what? Pipe, where output of source will be kept in a pipe and target will read the data from the pipe. So pipe is going to act as what? Intermediate storage media. But in reality, it's a memory. Yeah. But anyway, we can extend this with many scenarios. But anyway, that much is not required because I am from product background, so I know these things very well. Fine, let us try to what I call configure target. So can you see, guys, here? So these we can see here three columns, right? C1, C2, and C3. From where they have come in? Because of link. Remember. Yeah? So now let us try to configure target. Same as source, guys. Yeah? So TJT file connection. Fine. So specify flat file and runtime environment. So we can specify here C colon target. So make sure that this folder has been created because so we have already created earlier. So we can just make use of it. Yeah. Let's say we don't have any details. I'll just delete it. It's empty, right? Now, after running, right, you'll get to see the target file generation here. Yeah. So that's it. Say test. Yeah. Okay. That's it, guys. Any questions, guys, here?
No.
Fine. So now, so let us try
Can,
to
can we check the folder? This target file is generated on the
target
C drive.
under C. Yes. So we just specified the path only, right? File has not been specified. Let us say if we try to save it, right? You'll get a message, error message. Yeah, for that one, I just kept it blank. Can you see here? It's invalid. Yes or no? So which means
Oh,
there is something which is missing, right? Yeah. What is missing, right? Can you look at here? There is a tick mark in the right top, which indicates validation. Click on it. Now we get validation panel. Within that, see there is a target problem, right? That's what you are trying to say, right? So see here, field must contain at least one mapping field, and second line, right? Object not specified. So that's what you are trying to say. Now we can just go there and supply that object. Clear, no?
mhm.
Yeah. So here there are two ways to specify target. One, if we already have existing target, we can just select it. We deleted all of them, right? It's empty now. So let us say we can select create new at some time. If you specify seq underscore one tgt dot txt, right? Because source file is what the seq1 and corresponding target we are expecting here. That's it. Yeah. And then say okay. That's it. Now I can just expand it. See, now it is valid, right? Yes or no? Because we configured like whatever it expects. Now the mapping is valid. This is a simple example, guys. So far, we just talked about static mapping, which means we know how to connect to file, yeah, by specifying connection, age, and all that. Target also we have done it. And syntactically, which means compilation part, validation, meaning syntax semantics are fine, plus link also. Validation includes two things, syntax semantics plus establishing linkage between or among threads or among transformations. Both are fine. So validation is equal to both. You know, connectivity plus compilation, just to make it short. Run it. Yeah. So now you can see preview, right? An agent, right? You need to specify the right agent. See, it's pointing to some other agent which is not ready to use. So this is what we need to do. At the time of execution, we decide like which is the right agent for us. That's where we need to select. This is what manually we are trying to do it. But in real projects, right, what we do from third party scheduler, we execute this task, right? Yeah. So which means we specify this task need to be executed based on this particular agent. We specify it. That's what in reality, right? But here we are just learning, right? So by selecting it, we can just run it. Yes, my jobs, just like a monitor where we can just monitor the status of this particular mapping. Remember, guys, logically speaking, there is no way of executing a mapping directly. Why? Mapping is a template, guys, are just like a class. Can we execute or can we directly use a class in object-oriented programming? No, right? So then how do we make use of it? We need to create an object for it. That's what we call. It's a process of instantiation of a class is what we call an object. And what is an object in the context of Informatica Cloud? Task, which means when you try to run the mapping right internally, it is going to create a task for it, then execution will take place. That's a default. But in reality, we don't do that. We create a task explicitly. I'll talk about it later on. It's a mapping task. We create it and we schedule or we run it in on-demand mode. That's what in reality we do it, right?
Are you there, Narasimha?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Oh,
we need to refresh it. Yeah. Can you see, guys? So by default, do not get refresh. We need to refresh it. So, but if you switch over from one application to application, it will be refresh automatic. But in the backend, it would have been completed. Fine, it is done, right? Now click on this instance. Can you see here? This is a mapping name -1. -1 means what? First run, or we can say run ID or instance ID. Can you see instance ID here? 1. So this is a task name, which means for every mapping, it is going to create a task for it, which we call mapping task. It will create by itself. What is the task type? Mapping. And who executed this? Whoever has logged on onto this IICS, right? Or data integration service to be precise. And time when it got started, when it got ended, and time taken to complete this particular task. Yeah. And now here you can see runtime environment. Can you guess the difference between the runtime environment and secure agent? The runtime environment is equal to what? A group, or we can say that secure agent group. Within this, we can have n number of secure agents. One, like what we have installed. We can also have multiple agents in same system. Each will be listening with a different port number. And then the status is what successful. All the rows have been transferred. There are no errors. And if you want to look at the what you call every transformation metrics, we can see it here. Source, 6 rows. Target, all 6 rows have been transferred. No errors, no mention, nothing. Now, if you want to look at it in a session log, like what you guys would have seen in Power Center, right? You can also download and take a look at it. Yes. Yeah. Can you see, guys? So it's a group ID, group name, like what I was trying to talk. Secure agent group, right? One agent we are trying to use it here, and that ID corresponds to that. Then what is the task type here? MTT, mapping task type. That's it. Now, so we can see here source, target, all that. This is similar to what we guys would have seen cover center. At the end, we could able to see the session load summary that contains what comes in 6 rows, right, from source, and what goes out 6 rows from what target. That's it. So this is a simple way to understand what it contains, but I'll try to talk about some more details by enabling trace, like we got a tests, verbose net, verbose data, normal, whatever, right? That we will see later on when we talk about debug module. Yeah, fine. Now, so far so good in the front end, but in reality, can you see the data in the target? Can you see, guys, here? Target folder, everything was empty, right? It just
Yeah.
stated just now, 743, right? Just 5 minutes ago. You can just look at the data. See, all the 6 rows have been transferred, and every field value, it has been enclosed with what? Double quotes. Can you see the effect of the test qualifier, guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. So this is a simple example. With this, we can say that our environment is what? Working fine. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. So now let us start with what? With one transformation, right? Any questions, guys? Environment part.
No.
Actually, no questions, but on request, that is right now, please load into our like on the table. It's not relational table, not file. Show us on that. Am I audible?
Yeah. Raman.
Okay.
Rahman, you can hear me, right? So I didn't get your question. Can you try to repeat your question if you don't mind?
Yes. Please use relational table as a target now.
Oh, table. That I'm going to talk. Now we are
Sure.
focusing on a file, right? So we can use
Right.
table as a source and also target. We can, anyway, we are going to do it. Yeah, fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Narsima, we are creating secure agent, right? Like how it will pick the runtime environment.
So runtime element just like a term that we use. Within that, we use agent only. We specify, right, while running Mamata. Like for example, when you run this any mapping, right? Yeah, go to dashboard. Can you see here? These are the available runtime environments. So this is the one agent. Mamata. So one is
Yeah,
stop, one is ready. This is the first thing. Clear, right, Mamata?
yeah.
Now, whenever you want to run any task, right, we can just select which agent that need to be used. When you run, right, so all the available agents, right, they can be seen in the drop down, Mamata.
So you have to
Clear, no?
select from them.
And select whichever you want to use it. So we selected the second one because it's ready to use. Clear, Mamata?
Yes,
Mamata?
Narsima, got it. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Then run it. That's all we did. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So now let us try to get into what next example where we'll perform what ETL operation. That's what theoretically we discussed, right? EL part is done. Now let's focus on what ETL with a transformation, with any logic. So let's focus on the very simple transformation, which is filter transformation. Filter transformation will be used in order to limit the number of rows based on condition. We can have n number of conditions with corresponding n number of filter transformations. We'll start with one filter with one condition and corresponding one target. and see whether it works or not. After that, we'll extend this to what? With n number of filter conditions. Yeah. So now we need to go to mappings, create a mapping. Yeah. Or we can also make a copy of existing mapping and add filter. That also can be done. Yeah. So probably I'll try to show another example. In Explore, you can go there, create a copy, and use it. Yeah, I'll show that anyway. So because we just started, right? Let's try to get used to with this particular tool. Yeah. Once you get used to it, right, you can go with what shortcuts. Yeah. So now connection. So we see all the available connections can be seen over here. Yes or no? So we have just given SRC file connection, right? And
Is
then
that created previously, this
yes,
connection?
yes. Previously
Okay.
we supplied that name, Raymond.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we going
Right.
to follow any standard like
Yes, we are
mapping node?
following. Yes, we are following here. Like from for source connection, prefix is what src underscore, and what type of source, which is a file, and why we are doing it for connection to connect to talk to that. That's why we gave the meaningful name here. Raymond, yes or
Okay.
no?
And yes, and mapping name, are we following any standard?
Yes.
Like in
Mapping name.
Informatica, we did like M underscore then name.
Exactly. So here we are following mapping underscore. Yeah,
Okay.
mapping
Okay.
underscore source target we gave, right? Which means from source we are getting it transferred to a target. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we follow some guidelines. Yeah. So let us say SEQ, same file, we'll try to use it. So SEQ1. Yes, this is done. Now target. Yeah, before target, right? So we can use filter. Yeah. So filter transformation. Right? See, usually guys, filter we can apply condition for strings and also for numerics. But most of the cases we use it for, let's say, numeric values. Now, if you take a source, do we have any type or any field which is of numeric type? So that we can see by getting into what fields. Can you see here? C1, C2, C3 are column names and types are what? String type. So let us say if you look at the source data, it looks like it is a pure numeric data, but the type is string. Why? Because one of the row that contains what empty data, right? Yes or no? That is why by default it is created with a string type. Now the question, let's say you are sure about what you are doing. In that case, we can change this type to what? Integer or any other numeric type, like a float, double, whatever. To modify that, can you see in the right top options? Select that. There is a edit metadata. I hope all of you could able to see, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Edit metadata. Now we can change it. See, change the type from string to let us say integer. That's it. Yeah. So now type got changed. So we can apply the condition based on what? Numeric type. Right? Like greater than, less than, less than equal to. They're all what? Relational operators. Yes or no? Usually we apply relational operators for numeric. Yes or no? We can use it for strings, but it is not recommended. No? So now let us try to configure the filter transformation. Yes or no? Three columns. See, one is integer. Others we did not touch. That's why they're just treated as what? Strings only. Yeah. Now filter condition, right? We can use either simple, advanced, or parameterized. Simple with one or two conditions. Advanced, we can have complex condition that can be built with advanced interface. That's it. Yeah. Parameterized means we can also supply this condition during runtime. So that's what I said. in IICS, we can make 100% of parameterization, not only for source and target, but also for all the transformations. So let us start with a simple condition. Add it. So select any column here. See here, these are the multiple relational operators. Let us say we are using greater than 1, which means if the input data satisfies this condition, only those rows will get transferred to a target. Yes or no? That's it. Now let us configure the target. So if you look at the fields, see here, we got all the fields. So now we know how we get these fields, right? Because of link and configure target. Here also we are using what? TGT file connection, target for file connection. Raymond, now specify what the target file name. Let's say we expect this to be treated at runtime. So let's say seq filter tgt dot txt. Seq is a file type, it's a sequential file based on the filter condition, and file is what? Target file. That's it. And then say okay. Yeah. Yes. Now click on mapping workspace. Can you see by default you'll have default names like what we have in Power Center, right? We can change it here. Mapping source filter followed by target, which means we are trying to read the data from source, filtering it, getting it transferred to a target. That's the naming convention we follow, right? And save it. Mm. Yeah. Anyway, default our runtime environment we are using, Mamata. So if you want, we can change it to something else. Yeah. Click on run. So click on my jobs where you can monitor it. Yeah. So meantime, if you have any questions, right? So please try to ask those questions.
So here we don't need to create any session task, right?
Yes, Raymond.
So here we don't need to create any session task, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. That it is creating by itself, but normally we create. Instead of session task, here we call it as mapping task. Both are same only. Raymond.
Okay. Okay.
Like I think in even standalone environment, right? If you have used informatic developer client, right? Even there also we can run mapping directly, like what we are trying to do here, right? But in Power Center, we create a session task. There is a data quality or big data management, right? In standalone. So in that we use informatic developer client. So there we can create a mapping, and mapping can be executed directly. So, but internally it's going to create a task. We can call it as a mapping task or session task. Raymond?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Narsimha, like
Yes.
why it is showing as starting and before also it was showed as queued
If
status?
it, yeah, see, after starting, I did not refresh it. So immediately if refresh, no, it will be queued. And then, yeah, because now we have given a lot of what do you call, uh, what do you call, delayed time, right? That's why it's successful. Logically, it will start, then it will be queued, then success. This is the order of execution, Mamata.
Okay.
Queued means, let us say, there will be n number of tasks which will be up and running, Mamata, and they'll be kept in a queue. Whenever resources are available, right, then they'll start getting it processed. That's what normally happens. It's not the concept from Informatica. It's actually normal. scheduler, operating system scheduler. Yeah. In that context, they have used queued here. Yeah.
In real time, I thought like it will be the same, but here we don't have any jobs, right? I thought like it immediately it will show the success because
No,
we,
here also it will be same. Everywhere it will be same only, because in even local system also, right? There will be n number of tasks or process which will be up and running. Yeah. It will wait
okay.
for the freely available resources. Like you can see, right, n number of processes which are up and running. Yeah. So, but there will be some high priority tasks where they would have what you call consume resources. So this guy has to wait till the resources are released. Yeah. So though the resources are available or busy, right? Still, first thing it will be queued, immediately executed if they are available. If not, it will wait. It will be in the queue only. Namita. Yeah.
Yeah, got it, Narasimha. Thank you.
Yeah. Order is what starting, queued, and success. That's the order. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Sagarika, Balaji, Ali, Rahman,
File
Namita.
is in GitHub or in cloud.
Yes, Balaji.
If the source file is in GitHub or in any cloud environment, how can we use the path?
In the cloud
Yes.
environment means, see, for example, let us say, let me talk about Amazon, right? Just now we saw Amazon S3, right? So to talk
Mhm.
to Amazon, right, we need to have credentials, username, password. Then after that, from which domain we need to access, which means region we need to have. Then within that, we can talk to Amazon by using S3 buckets we call simple storage space. Within that, you'll have a number of buckets. We specify buckets where you'll have a data in the form of file using which we read it. That's how we talk to third-party cloud. Same concept holds good even if you go with what Azure or even Salesforce cloud or some other uh, Google cloud, whatever. Balaji.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Yes.
But they'll have files, but the way they store it what on their own format. But we need to follow their format to talk to them. For Amazon, I gave example, right? Same way we need to go with what other clouds also in the with predefined steps. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks. Sachin.
Yeah.
If they are using any bucket, they will provide you the connection details to get the
Exactly.
data.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Fine. So I think we have executed, right? Yes, success. 2 rows, right? Because actually input data is how many guys? 6, no? But in target we got only 2. So you can just verify that the target file. See, file got created and we can see only 2, which is greater than 1, right? We got only 2 rows. So other rows, yeah. So here all the rows, right? See, this is filtered out. This is filtered out. This is filtered out. This is filtered out. Only leftover rows are 4 and 7. So that's why we got these 2 rows as part of result. Yeah. So that's it, guys, about simple transformation. Fine. Yeah. With this, we'll stop for the day. We'll continue from it tomorrow. If you have any questions, you can shout out. Or else we'll stop here.
So tomorrow you're gonna show us how to create the workflow and all, like continuation of this.
So usually what I normally do is, so we started with data integration mappings, right? So we'll
Mm-hmm.
try to complete most of the activities under mappings are set, like which
Got
means all the transformations. And then we'll get into tasks, like understanding pre-built tasks and custom tasks. Then we go with what connecting n number of tasks to build a workflow or task flow. We'll go in a systematic approach so that there won't be any confusion. Ali.
Yeah, got it, Nancy.
Yeah, but I don't have any problem. If you want, I can switch to task flows and start getting in there.
No, no,
But
no, 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 no. We'll go with the systematic, as you said.
yeah,
It's easy
fine.
for us to understand.
Exactly. So there won't be any confusion. Right? Yeah.
Right.
Any other
Okay.
questions? Yeah.
Uh, Narasimha, I haven't received the recording
Oh,
yet.
that link, right? Yeah, I remember that. Even I requested. Once I get it, I'll just send an email. Mamata, is it okay? Right?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I'll try to follow up on that today. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So thanks to all guys. We'll meet tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
Nashima?
Bye. Yes,
Hello?
Sagarika.
Yeah, Nashima, are you in a hurry? Because I installed the secure agent. I just want to see how to organize and then create a source for
I
one way
have
to.
some other session now, Sagarika.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So
No, no,
probably
I'm asking
the
if you're
complete.
not
No, I'll just drop
busy.
it.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Absolutely fine. Okay. I'll just
Okay.
ping you on WhatsApp though, just now if I can.
Sure, sure,
uh,
sure,
Yeah, thanks.
Sagarika. Bye.
I have one question before hang up,
Yes,
Narsima.
Rama.
Actually, when we ran that outflow, it was like it was showing invalid. So from where we
There is
correct
a
that?
validation. There is a validation button. If you click on that, where it got invalid, right? You will go there. We can see that, and we can understand the message like why it is invalid, and start getting it fixed. I'll try to show one more example on tomorrow's session. Is that okay, Rama?
That's fine. Also, in my mapping, can I share my screen just for 1 minute?
Yeah,
If you
please try to
allow
do
me.
it a bit fast because I have
Yeah,
other session. Yeah.
sure, sure. Let me share my screen with you. How I can share this? Okay, enter screen. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Not that it's coming up, I think. Yeah, now it is coming up.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah,
now
can
it
you
is.
see the target? Expand the target. Expand it. There is an
Okay,
arrow button. No, no. In target only, there is an expand button on the left side, right? Left arrow. Click on that. No, no, no.
right here.
Target.
No, no, no. In
In
the
the
right validation.
validation panel.
Yeah, there is
Validation
a
panel.
roadmap target. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
button. Click on that. Yeah. Can you see a
Field
Okay,
map.
field mapping
Okay.
must contain
At least one
at
field.
least one map? Yeah. Go to that
Target.
target. Look at this view. Sorry. Select. Click on
select.
select button in the
Okay,
properties. Properties. Yeah. Yes.
property.
Click.
Go down. Go down.
Properties mean the bottom. Sagarika is expert, I think.
Okay, select.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Select.
Select.
Yeah. Wait. So you selected existing, right? Yes or no?
Yes, existing one. This
Yeah. Which means we need to map it explicitly. Click on create new at runtime. Second radio button.
okay.
Yes. Supply the name here. Yeah. Any name. Yeah. That's
Uh,
also fine.
can I overwrite it? Okay.
So is it a
Yes.
table?
Yeah, that's the table.
Or it's a flat file?
UK relational table, huh?
Right.
So you have structure should be there then.
Yeah, I
That's fine.
already created that.
Okay, then it's fine. Say okay. It is going to expect to create. Fine. You'll get error anyway. Yeah. Now you can just save it.
Okay,
Save
save
it.
it. Oh, now
Now it's valid, right?
yes.
Fine.
Yeah, it's valid.
So you can just that's all. Yeah. So rest anyway we'll discuss that. Database anyway I have not talked about. I'll show with an example. Yeah. Fine.
Sure.
Okay, Raymond?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
to
you.
all. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you, Shagorina.